Welcome to 13 minutes of news in 13 minutes or less. So let's start where we start. Where do we get all our information from? If you want to know about anything gig economy, rideshare, delivery, off-brands, independent contractorship, any of that, where do you go? You go to uberlyftdrivers.com. From there, you can portal out to the podcast, to the YouTube channel, Instagram, all that. Plug in right over here. You got the links. Also, check out the YouTube channel, please. Rideshare Rodeo. You're probably on it right now. However, this might be playing as a clip on something else. So, that said, let me give 3 plugs that we need to talk about here today. And because this is 13 minutes or less of news, I will just plug them, but we can talk about them on open forum Sunday always. And I talk about them a little bit here and there too. But you guys check out Middleton Technologies, that's Maximo, Driver Utility Helper, the app, and Flex Alert. Also, check out Solo. Solo is an app to make sure that you are earning the best you can in your market on the platforms you are already working. Also, check out Moves Financial, Moves, and check them out as a bank account for gig workers, because they really do things for you that other banks don't do. As if that's what you do is gig work, they're the ones to go with. So why am I wearing a hood today? Because we had a major temperature drop. It happens sometimes in Colorado. I am wearing shorts. However, I'm wearing a hoodie and a long sleeve shirt. It's just the Colorado lifestyle. So let's jump in here, because we got a few things to talk about and we only got a few minutes to do it. So, we talked about Massachusetts last week and the fact that they are taking away the option to vote on being able to stay independent contractorship, kind of like a Prop 22 measure. Not my favorite measure. What I found really interesting about the Massachusetts story is that they are taking away the right to decide if that's the way they want to go. And this is kind of like a fear of mine, is that, the unions didn't like how it played out in California. So now they're just trying to say, well, maybe everybody doesn't need to vote on this. So I think we're going to see a lot of, expect a lot of nasty stories about union corruption, about corporate corruption, which we hear about anyway, but union corruption we haven't heard about as much lately. Expect a lot coming out of the Northeast in the next few months, all the way up till November from right now. Just watch the news up there, see if you see anything that sounds like corruption, because you're going to see a lot of it. But also Senate Bill 949, which was supposed to do the same thing as House Bill 1234 from Massachusetts. Keep independent contractors independent, or at least give them the freedom to vote if that's what they wanted to do. Well, Pennsylvania Senate Bill 949 was supposed to do the same thing, and it has already been shot down. So again, another state looking at going straight to the union model when their AB 5 type legislation goes into effect. This is stuff to worry about, guys. So I just put it there in the beginning. Let's get it out there. If you guys have any questions, one thing I say, I'm going to start putting the links, instead of the links to just the stories I use, I'm going to put the link to Uber Lyft drivers where I posted these links, because I always do this on Saturday morning. I post a bunch of news, and some of it I don't even get to in this. So you guys can scroll through it and see if there's anything else in there interesting, or go through the website. It's all in there. Yeah, so the Senate bill, shooting that down, not good at all. Now, this we've talked about a couple times this week on the podcast, on the roundtable, on the radio show. Pretty much everything I did this week, we talked about. I'm trying to think, but I think we talked about it, which is why DoorDash asks for sexual orientation from applicants. Okay, again, this story right here, this one, the 13 with the blue, click on that, and all the links are in here, okay? And what I would say is read up on this, because this is not okay. And if anybody out there has been through this, other, like John Dash Theory TV, we were talking about this on the round table, and he had actually experienced part of this. So if you at any point went for a job with DoorDash and experienced any of this, please contact me. Steve at ridesharerodeo.com. Steve at ridesharerodeo.com. You can also reach out to me for any reason, anytime. Happy to help. Happy to discuss. Happy to meet new people. And happy to maybe even, who knows, get to know you and maybe have you on the podcast or something. I like having randoms on. Just people out there working and what market you're in. And so this is here's a little kind of just a lighter story in the middle here. Are your DoorDash options limited to pickup only? Now, this is an odd story. It's in here. It comes from Distractify, the news publication Distractify. So when you get to the article, what it's doing is it's DoorDash giving like 3 options on how to like delete the app, reinstall the app, how to do this, how to like quick fixes that they might tell to like drivers for issues. But this is how to get it so that maybe a driver will pick up your order. There's a lot to this. I to be honest, I think that this is part of why oversaturation happens. I think this is part of why smaller markets, need a certain amount of oversaturation. But I also wonder if some of this is starting to come from, bad reviews or whatever. It's in here. Take a look at it, especially if you're a DoorDasher. This would probably very much interest you. So I won't read the article word for word. It's not that long, but you can go into the Uber Lyft drivers. It'll be in the show notes to this video. Click in there and you'll see the story. Take a look if you want. Now, I'm going to finish off today with 2 Instacart stories. And the first one is a little bit scary. And not scary in terms of too scary. But I have seen all too many times people saying, and there's a need to worry sometimes, but they're selling data. Oh, they're doing this. Oh, there's a lot of different ways of selling data. And there's data sharing. And there's some things that need to happen to make it so that every company isn't pulling your data all the time. Instead, that they're doing a certain amount of data sharing. And with data sharing too, I'll tell you, one of the advantages that, and again, this is not data sales, not selling people's data sharing. It's a different term. And it's like, if if Lyft and Uber are going to share some data and it's going to be anonymously, like if you get deactivated as a driver for a sexual assault on Uber, they will immediately data share with Lyft that you specifically did that, and Lyft will kick you off the platform. That's different. That gets questionable, even though, if you actually did it and were accused, of course not, but if you haven't had your day in court. But when they share anonymous data just with each other to help each other, it's better than both companies trying to pull it. But here's what's going on. So Omnicom and Instacart have agreed to share data that connects sales data to TV ad spending. Now, this is in digiday.com. Again, links in here. But this is something that we all need to pay attention to, because I was reading this article and it almost makes it sound like, to those who really don't care or aren't that worried or whatever, it almost might sound like a good thing. But to me, this is where that line gets crossed a little bit. I don't like this. This is almost data sales. Even in the title, it says Omnicom and Instacart agreed to share data that connects sales data to TV ad spend. To see the trickiness there is that they use to share data, and then the part after that connects sales data. So it's almost like we're selling your data so that we can share data to connect you with the right things. So these are the things I don't like. But it happens. And then here's the last one that I got for today. So, and actually there's a ton in here. by the way, about independent contractor here, Uber Lyft price fixing lawsuit, um, hidden risks of last mile delivery, hybrid remote work to boost. Toyota is selling half of its shares of Uber, 5.1 million shares. There's a ton of articles in here. This is the last one I'm going to hit on real quick. So, in Toronto, Canada, Walmart is starting a 30-minute delivery guarantee with Instacart. Now, I've been up to Toronto because I'm from Michigan, and I've been up there to watch baseball games, hockey games, because it's really not that far. You can drive in just a few hours. But I got to tell you that Toronto's a huge city. It was some small cities, even then, but it's a huge city. The way Walmart works, and 30 minutes. So you're going to make an order, and 30 minutes later, it's going to be at your door. I mean, I think it's possible on a handful of orders to do that. Do I think every order is going to make this? Not even close. I was looking for the specs, and there really aren't any yet. Again, sometimes when stories come out, it's just the headline catch, and then they've got like a couple paragraphs if you've ever noticed, and then a week later or something, it's like, here's the deep dive story with all the details. So this is kind of the initial bite story, but even in there was a little more than just details or just the initial nothingness, and they're pretty much, the way I read it was, they're pretty much guaranteeing all their orders in 30 minutes. So I don't know how that works. We'll see. But that's it, guys. Check out UberLiftDrivers.com. Check out Rideshare Rodeo on audio podcast. Check it out on YouTube. And that's 13 minutes of news in under 13 minutes. Peace.